What is going on, guys? You're watching Gunplay TV. I'm just back from the gym and I am packing for a trip out of town, out to Las Vegas, okay? And so in this video, actually, I'm gonna break down what it is that you need to do, what you need to make sure that you cover in order to fly safely with your firearm, because yes, it is possible, and yes, it is legal, and TSA is cool with it so long as you follow their rules, okay? So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is head down to the TSA website, make sure that you're in compliance with all of their rules and regulations. Secondly, you're gonna wanna check the particular airline in which you're gonna be flying, okay? So individual airlines, let's say American Airlines versus Delta versus Spirit or Frontier, are gonna have different policies on what you can bring and how that needs to be packed, okay? So I've already done all that. I'm gonna run you guys through what I've got here in my box. Alrighty, so I have my carry-on here on the left, and I've got my Pelican case here on the right. Now this is gonna be something that you really want to invest in. These cost about $50, maybe $60. They're hard case, hard shell, waterproof, right? So very durable. These things are made for camera equipment, quite frankly, and sensitive electronics. And they're gonna have two clasps there on the outside, of course, in addition to, and this is kind of one of the imperatives that you'll need once you check that TSA website and the airline in which you're gonna be flying. I can almost guarantee that they're gonna say it needs to be in a hard shell case, and you need to have at least 2 locks ready to place on that case, okay? And so I'll open that up and we can see that I'm bringing my Glock 19X, okay? And I've got everything broken down. This is the pick and plug foam. Just once more, this is the Pelican 1400 case, if anyone's curious, okay? And so one of the stipulations, I fly Delta out of Atlanta, is that your magazines cannot be loaded, okay? And so I've downloaded all my magazines, placed that in a manufacturer hard case with individual spacing for those particular rounds. That's another stipulation that Delta insists upon. And then I've got my firearm secured here and an X300 as well. Okay, and so that's pretty straightforward. You really just need a hard shell box. You can keep it in the manufacturer's hard case, provided that that's not something that can easily be pried open from the side, because the idea is, right, one, we don't want people that are looking to do harm to get to these weapons, and secondly, you certainly don't want your weapon stolen by one of those TSA guys. So I always say go out, invest in something more robust like the Pelican that you see here. These things really don't fail, okay? And then I've got 2 locks there. Those things you can get on Amazon. I like to go with the combination because that lies strictly within my head, okay? So what I'll do is, of course, once you've got that in a box like this and you lock it up, what you'll need to do is place that inside of your luggage, provided that, well, you're not gonna check it alone. So we're gonna go throw this in my luggage bag now, and I'll show you kind of how I have that situated. So myself personally, I like to fly with hard shell luggage. It just helps protect what's already inside, any other sensitive goods that you might have. But one thing I like about this away bag that I've got is, one, it has a particular size more or less for shoe storage and bulky item storage, where I typically place that Pelican case, okay? And then in addition to that, once I close all this up, right, I've actually got combination locks here on the outside as well, which will ensure that no one really gets into the bag, okay? So again, the main thing that you're gonna need is a hard shell case, either OEM, I recommend Pelican, and then what they're probably gonna have you do, unless you're checking a rifle case, you're probably gonna have to place that inside of your luggage, your checked luggage, of course, because that is not allowed on the plane. You don't want those problems, okay? So what we're gonna do now is head over to the airport. I'm gonna do my best to record that in situ, if you will, right? And yeah, I'll bring that to you guys as soon as I'm back from my trip. Again, I apologize, this is a very impromptu video, but I thought, hey, why not demonstrate how it is that I fly, and you know, do it quick, do it easy. All right, so stick around for that. I need to declare firearm.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of, yeah. This over this desk over here? Thank you so much. Hey, yes ma'am, I need to declare firearm. Just send me over to you guys. You need me to show you the... I have the electronic copy, yes ma'am. What do you need me to do? You need me to... Okay. Okay, let me make sure this is locked for you. Oh no, I'm carrying this one on. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll open it up for you. Moving too quick. Look, I gotta get ready to board here in a bit. Yes, ma'am. Stick it. I'm gonna put it underneath. Get the clothes in there. Ready?
You know where you take it, right?
That blue, yeah, with the gentleman in the light blue spot pass.
It's got clubs on it. You'll take it right there to TSA.
Okay. Sounds good.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Dropping this off with you.
You done this before here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Loaded, right?
Yes, sir.
So right there, I'll let you know when it's clear.
All right, sounds like a plan. Good. Thank you, brother. The lock's off. Let's see if TSA stole anything. All right, guys, so we're back in the studio, made it back from Vegas, had a great time. And I'm happy to report that nothing was stolen or nothing went missing during my trip. TSA didn't snag anything from my boxes, okay? And so I'm not saying that as a diss against TSA. It does in fact happen, all right? So I'm not trying to dig against the airlines, and I'll share a story with you guys here at the end about how that can actually happen, okay? But all in all, the trip went very smooth. I tried my best to document that to the best of my ability. Now, one thing that I did leave out that I wanted to show you guys is actually the retrieval of those baggages, or those items, if you will, from the baggage claims office, okay? So typically, when you are checking a firearm, as we saw, I checked mine inside of my hard shell luggage. That luggage is not going to be issued or placed out onto the baggage carousel as it typically would, right? And so what you're gonna see is everybody else's luggage is gonna come out as expected onto the carousel, and you're gonna kind of sit there waiting for an individual to walk your baggage down from the airplane to the baggage claims office. Now, at that point, what you would do is share your ID, verify that the baggage is yours, and they'll relinquish that baggage to you. Now, and typically what we'll see in what I showed in the video as well, that baggage is going to be zip tied shut just so that nobody can try any funny business while they're still inside the airport, okay? So all good with me. Now, when I came back from Atlanta, I did want to capture that process for you, and I really wish I had, because as I mentioned, I have a story for you guys as to how things can go missing, especially with firearms, okay? And so we saw that I placed my baggage, or my firearm case, if you will, right? I placed this inside of my hard shell luggage, okay? And I actually locked that up. So I had locks on this, on either corner, and I had locks on my hard shell luggage as well, okay? And so when I got back into Atlanta, I did want to record that portion of the video because I did have to go to that oversized baggage claims office wherein I could receive that baggage. And while I was waiting in line, I saw one of the TSA or I guess Delta baggage representatives handling what was obviously an OEM Glock box, okay? And as we know, Glock boxes have 0 locks on them. Now, for display purposes, this is the box, the OEM box for my Glock 19X. And this is almost identical to what I saw in the hands of that baggage claims associate there with Delta. Now, what I saw was actually, right, we noticed there are no loops for a hard padlock of any kind. And so what this individual had done, unfortunately they weren't there for me to talk to at the time, but they had taken the cable lock that's typically included with your firearms, right? Typically used to lock the slide in a rearward position and keep anybody from inserting any magazines or rounds into that chamber. They had taken that and merely looped that around this handle. Now I pause there because that's absolutely ridiculous. That's by no means secure, and I'm not sure who at Delta let them board the plane having checked their bag like that. And even further, they didn't even place this inside of an additional piece of luggage like I did. They simply wrapped that up with the lock, again the cable lock, and handed it over to the TSA representatives. And what I saw when I was waiting in line to receive my hard shell baggage with my Pelican inside was the whole side of this package had been ripped open, pried apart, cracked open more or less entirely, and there was no firearm inside, okay? And so I'm gonna close this video by saying, if you have expensive equipment, gear that you hold near and dear, make sure that you're doing what you can to properly protect that, especially if you're gonna be traveling. There's a lot of hands that, you know, touch your stuff when you're, you know, traveling via airline or otherwise, okay? And you wanna make sure that your valuables stay with you, okay? So if you do at any point have to relinquish that baggage or those valuables to another person, a TSA representative or airline's baggage associate, you want to make sure that you've covered all your boxes and ensuring that that stuff is protected, okay? So again, I can't say it enough. I very much recommend Pelican hard shell cases. These things are crush proof, waterproof, dust proof. Anything you put inside of these is more or less going to be safe, provided that you've fixed that into the foam the way that you should, right? And furthermore, they're not terribly expensive, right? That smaller one that we had there was about 49 bucks. I think this bigger one was closer to $90, okay? And we've got the big rifle case over here, which is by Pelican or Vault, which is one of their subsidiary brands. That comes in around $200. So again, the bigger that you go, the more that you're gonna be placing inside the case, the more it's gonna cost you. But at the end of the day, I think it's worth it in knowing that your stuff is gonna be safe, protected from any drops, nicks, anything of the sort. And then furthermore, that you've got a very reliable hard shell case with locks at that to keep that from being stolen or broken into, okay? So with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment for the algorithm, give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Without further ado, I'm gone.